$1.4 billion. That is the total penalty paid by 10 of the world's largest investment banks in a single settlement. The charge? Their analysts were issuing buy ratings on stocks they privately called junk because their independence had been compromised. Standard IB exists because this actually happened. The exam tests exactly one thing here. Do you know when an analyst's independence is at risk and what they must do about it? Here is the exact text of Standard IB, word for word as the exam tests it. Members and candidates must use reasonable care and judgment to achieve and maintain independence and objectivity in their professional activities. Members and candidates must not offer, solicit, or accept any gift, benefit, compensation, or consideration that reasonably could be expected to compromise their own or another's independence and objectivity. 3 words carry the entire weight of this standard. Any, there is no categorical exemption. Reasonably could be expected. The test is objective, not whether you were actually influenced. And another's, you cannot help compromise someone else's independence either. Before we go through each exam trap, here is the 3-step decision framework you will use on every single IB question. Step 1. Who is the giver? Does this person or firm have a financial interest in your professional decisions? A covered company, a broker who executes your trades, or an investment banking client, those are high-conflict sources. A vendor at your firm's holiday party, low conflict. Step 2. What is the scale? Is the benefit modest and token in value, or lavish, expensive travel, premium entertainment, significant cash? Step 3. What action does this require? Modest benefit from a low-conflict source, except with employer disclosure. Modest benefit from a high-conflict source, disclose and evaluate carefully. Lavish benefit from any source, decline or self-fund, plus disclosure. Memorize this framework. Every IB question maps to one of these 3 outcomes. Trap 1. The personal gift. A portfolio manager you cover sends you a $75 gift basket at the holidays. Your firm's written policy allows gifts up to $100. Can you accept it? Here is where most candidates fail. They stop at employer policy allows it and mark that as the answer. That is almost always wrong on the exam. Employer policy compliance and CFA standards compliance are separate obligations. Your firm's policy cannot lower the bar below what the CFA standards require. The correct approach: evaluate whether the gift, given its source, a portfolio company you hold, could compromise your independence. Then disclose it to your employer regardless of the dollar amount. The source matters more than the amount. A $50 gift from a covered company is more concerning than a $200 gift certificate from a firm-wide vendor party. CFA standards set no specific dollar threshold. The word modest requires judgment. Trap 2. Entertainment. This is the most commonly tested misconception in Standard IB, appearing in roughly 30% of exam questions on this topic. A portfolio company invites you to a conference dinner valued at $280. Can you attend? Many candidates think entertainment is different from gifts. It's just a dinner. That reasoning is dead wrong. Read the standard again. Any gift, benefit, compensation, or consideration. The word any explicitly includes dinners, sporting events, concerts, and all entertainment. There is no categorical exemption for entertainment under IB. And trap 2 within the trap, there is also no specific dollar threshold. Candidates who have studied FINRA's $100 gift rule import that number into the CFA framework. CFA standards contain no such number. When you see a question with an answer choice that cites a specific dollar threshold, 100, 250, 300, that answer is almost certainly wrong. Trap 3. Travel paid by covered companies. A tech company you cover offers to fly you business class to their analyst day at a Napa Valley resort, a $2,800 trip. Your firm's compliance policy permits issuer-funded travel for legitimate business purposes. Should you accept? The correct answer is almost always decline and arrange your own travel. Here is why. the legitimacy of the business purpose is irrelevant to the independence analysis. A facility tour or analyst day is genuinely informative. That is not the question. The question is who pays. When a covered company pays for your travel, you become beholden to them in a way that can subtly compromise your analysis. The recommended procedure under Standard I-B is clear. Your firm pays for travel to covered companies. If your firm cannot or will not fund the trip, you arrange travel yourself or conduct research through alternatives like management calls. Disclosure alone is not sufficient for a $2,800 resort trip. This is a lavish benefit. Decline or self-fund, then disclose. Trap 4. Issuer-paid research. This is the hardest tested subtopic in Standard I-B. A research firm is paid by Meridian Biotech to produce a report on Meridian's own stock. The analyst discloses the funding arrangement at the top of the report. Is that sufficient? The exam trap here is what I call disclosure is always sufficient. Across many CFA standards, disclosure is indeed the complete required action. Candidates generalize this and assume it works everywhere. But Standard I-B explicitly states that for issuer-paid research, disclosure alone may be insufficient. Why? Because when a company pays for research about itself, the financial incentive to produce a favorable conclusion is so strong that disclosure does not neutralize it. The analyst must also ensure compensation is not contingent on the report's conclusions, apply the same analytical rigor as independent research, and in some cases, where independence cannot be maintained at all, decline to produce the report entirely. Think of it this way: putting a warning label on spoiled food doesn't make it safe to eat. Trap 5. Sell-side analyst and investment banking relationships. A sell-side analyst's firm is the lead underwriter for a Technova IPO. The analyst is asked to initiate coverage on Technova. He genuinely believes the company is fairly valued at the IPO price. Can he write the report? The trap is believing that sincere personal belief resolves the independence problem. Standard I-B is not about subjective intent, it is about structural independence. When the analyst's firm is collecting underwriting fees from the company being rated, there is systematic pressure, explicit or implicit, to produce favorable research. The analyst's honest belief does not eliminate that structural conflict. Best practice: organizational firewalls between research and investment banking. Analyst compensation must not be linked to banking transactions. Research conclusions must not be reviewed by banking personnel before publication. Disclosure is required, but structural conflict must also be managed. Disclosure alone is not the answer. Here is the complete I-B decision tree, the same framework from Step 3, now mapped visually so you can apply it in under 90 seconds on exam day. Start at the top. Is this benefit from a party with a financial interest in my decisions? If no, is it modest? If yes to both, disclosure to employer is sufficient. If the source does have a financial interest, the next question is scale. Modest amount, disclose and evaluate carefully. Lavish amount, you must decline or self-fund plus disclose. Remember, the specific categories that always land in the decline or self-fund bucket are lavish travel paid by covered companies, large gifts from trading counterparties, and issuer-paid research where compensation is contingent on conclusions. If this was on your exam tomorrow, you would get it right. Exam question 1. Sarah Chen, CFA, is a sell-side analyst. A company she covers offers to fly her business class to its annual analyst day at a Napa Valley resort, a trip valued at $2,800. Her firm's compliance policy permits company-paid travel for legitimate business purposes. Chen should most likely accept the trip because her firm's policy permits it and the purpose is legitimate. B. Decline the trip and arrange her own travel at her firm's expense. C. Accept the trip but disclose the arrangement to her employer and in subsequent research reports. The correct answer is B. Answer A is the employer policy trap, the most common wrong answer on this topic. Firm policy approval does not satisfy CFA standards when the standards are stricter. Answer C is the disclosure trap. For a lavish trip, disclosure is necessary but not sufficient. The $2,800 resort stay is far beyond modest. The recommended procedure under I.B. is for the analyst's firm to pay for travel to covered companies. If the firm will not fund it, Chen arranges travel independently. The exam tests exactly one thing here. CFA standards are stricter than firm policy, and for lavish benefits, disclosure alone does not cure the independence problem. Exam question 2. Maya Patel is a CFA candidate. A portfolio company her firm holds invites her to an industry conference dinner valued at $280. Her portfolio manager has attended 3 similar events from this company, which best describes how Patel should handle this. A, she may attend because conference dinners are entertainment, not gifts, and entertainment does not trigger standard I.B. B, she should evaluate whether the entertainment could compromise independence and, if it could, decline or obtain employer approval before attending. C, she may attend because $280 is below the typical $300 threshold for modest gifts under CFA standards. The correct answer is B. Answer A is the entertainment exemption trap, the single most dangerous misconception in standard IB. Entertainment has no categorical exemption. Any gift, benefit, compensation, or consideration, the word any is doing real work. Answer C is the false dollar threshold trap. There is no $300 threshold in CFA standards. There is no threshold of any kind. Candidates who import FINRA or SEC dollar limits into the CFA framework will get these questions wrong every time. The correct answer requires evaluation of the source. This is a portfolio holding with a financial interest in Patel's decisions and employer consultation before attending. Screenshot this. This is the standard IB cheat sheet, everything you need to answer any IB question in under 90 seconds. 6 rules, 5 trap identifiers, and 4 memory hooks that will serve you on exam day. The 6 decision rules: 1. Follow the stricter of CFA standards and employer policy. 2. Disclosure is sufficient only for modest benefits from low-conflict sources. 3. For lavish travel, large gifts, and contingent issuer-paid research, disclose and decline or self-fund. 4. The test is objective, not subjective. 5. Entertainment equals gifts under IB, no exceptions. 6. No specific dollar threshold exists, ever. The 4 memory hooks: modest, no dollar amount in CFA, always judgment. Disclosure is not a free pass, necessary but not sufficient for large conflicts. Employer approval does not equal CFA compliance. And any benefit includes entertainment, the word any is doing real work in that standard. Screenshot this. This is the standard IB cheat sheet, everything you need to answer any IB question in under 90 seconds. 6 rules, 5 trap identifiers, and 4 memory hooks that will serve you on exam day. The 6 decision rules: 1. Follow the stricter of CFA standards and employer policy. 2. Disclosure is sufficient only for modest benefits from low-conflict sources. 3. For lavish travel, large gifts, and contingent issuer-paid research, disclose and decline or self-fund. 4. The test is objective, not subjective. 5. Entertainment equals gifts under IB, no exceptions. 6. No specific dollar threshold exists, ever. The 4 memory hooks: modest, no dollar amount in CFA, always judgment. Disclosure is not a free pass, necessary but not sufficient for large conflicts. Employer approval does not equal CFA compliance. And any benefit includes entertainment, the word any is doing real work in that standard. Exam strategy for standard IB. This topic appears in roughly 8 to 12% of ethics questions on the CFA Level I exam. You have an average of 90 seconds per question. Here is how to use that time on IB. Pattern 1. When you see an answer choice that says, "Accept because employer policy allows it," eliminate it immediately. That is the employer policy safe harbor trap, nearly always wrong. Pattern 2. When you see, disclose, and proceed as an answer, it is right only for modest benefits from non-conflicted sources. For any lavish benefit, resort travel, significant gifts, contingent issuer pay, disclosure alone is the wrong answer. Pattern 3. When the question involves a covered company paying for travel, the correct answer is almost always decline and self-fund or use alternatives. Pattern 4. When the question mentions entertainment specifically and asks if IB applies, it does. Always. Pattern 5. When you see a specific dollar amount cited as a threshold in an answer choice, that answer is wrong. There is no dollar threshold in CFA standards. If this was on your exam tomorrow, you would get it right.